Shepard from Caltrans. I'm the project manager for the southbound Dunsmuir rehabilitation project. And we're here today. We've invited business owners and key community participants here because we recognize the importance that everybody that lives here understands what's happening right in our backyard. And so I really appreciate each of you that's taken the time out of your day to come here today and find out what's going on. We've set up some materials here to help everybody get their head wrapped around what we propose to do and why it needs to happen that way. And we're going to be available for one-on-one interaction and questions and discussion. This map on the table and the sections. And note on this table over here we have some materials that you can take with you that'll help jog your memory about what we talked about today. So with that, I'd like to just pass it to John Hinton. He's our area construction senior, and John lives in Siskiyou County and is overseeing the construction aspect of this project. And John will tell us a little bit about last year and kind of where we're headed this year.
Sure. So I'm the area construction engineer. Basically, my area is Siskiyou County, and then I have northern Shasta County. I got a little piece in Shasta County. And what my role is I essentially, if there's a construction project on a state highway, then I've got some responsibility for it. I participate in planning those projects, figuring out how we're going to stage them all the way through, and then when Nikki takes over, we do the construction management. We work with the contractor, we pay the contractor, we make sure they're doing everything according to plans and specifications. And then, of course, we work with the public. So probably most of you know that we completed about approximately half of the project this last year. It's nearly completed. I just thought I'd kind of give you some numbers on that and what we did. We started just before the 4th of July weekend. We put in some our carry rail. After the 4th of July weekend, we crossed our traffic over. So in that section, we completed about 8.5 lane miles of PCC. It's continuously reinforced concrete. What's out there right now is about a 40-year product. And typically we get at least 40 years. If you look at the northbound section here, leaving Dunsmuir, that's been there since 2001. So we're working on 20 years on that. We haven't touched that section of concrete. So the product that we're giving you is a very good product. I mean, it's going to last for a long time. In that time between July and November, we excavated about 63,000 cubic yards of concrete, or old roadway. We paved 40,000 ton of hot mix asphalt, which is about a $4 million value. We paved 38,000 cubic yards of concrete. That's about $10 million worth of value. Like I said, we got 8.5 lane miles completed. I think we paid the contractor about $26 million. So we did $26 million worth of work between July and in November. So we actually have accomplished a lot. And then in the meantime, I think we've probably employed roughly 50 to 75 people on the project.
80 plus.
Probably 80 plus people on this particular project. And so we've actually injected a lot of money into the local community through just having people here. You bring those people here and they spend money. It's inevitable. And so I'll let Nikki talk about where we're going with this.
Before you get off that topic, how much time had you planned originally for that project?
Well, that's a good point. We actually had this project was planned to be a 3-year project. So it would have encompassed 3 summers. The contractor, we worked with them, came up with some ideas, and we reduced it down to a 2-year project. So we're doing the same work, 2 years versus 3 years. This will be the 2nd year, yep. And it's a fine balance between, we work really hard not to inconvenience the public. We try to do things that don't interrupt people's lives. But sometimes in doing that, we drag it out longer. It takes longer to do the project. Whereas we can inconvenience you maybe a little more over a shorter period of time. And then we save money. The change saved $3 million. I mean, just like that. Going one last year saved $3 million. So those are the things we're trying to do to take care of the taxpayers' dollars. So, any other questions? Those are good ones. I like those. So.
I'd like to point out that Greg Colwell of JF Shea, our contractor, is with us today, and so he'll be here to answer questions about some of the construction things. But thanks for joining us.
But I have a question. I don't know if you already covered it. How long are the delays going to be for going northbound?
Well, when we were leading into last year, well, we anticipated the maximum delay, which is absolute worst case scenario, is 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
Yep. Now, that does not include accidents. You know, when there's a wreck on the roadway, we can't predict how long that's
Sure.
going to take. Last year, we had an accident involving two, they were RVs, and they got hooked together, but they couldn't get them separated, you know, and basically it's blocking all the traffic. Those things are pretty hard for us to predict.
So basically, as a tour operator, I should put an extra hour on.
That's the worst case scenario, and typically those are around holidays. Thursdays are bad, Tuesdays are bad.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesday, Thursdays are bad, and it usually falls after 12 o'clock.
Okay.
12 to, if
Not in
we
the
get
morning?
backups, we get,
Not in the morning?
we don't have
You're saying
problems in the
after
morning.
12?
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Unless there's an incident. You know, if there's an accident, then it's, you know, all bets are off at that point,
Sure.
so.
thank you.
Yeah, and we are in a better situation this year too. We're not involving Highway 89. We're not you know, in the truck facility. We're not at Lake Street, you know, so we're in a better situation this year than we were last year. I like to think we got the hard stuff done last year, and now we're working on the easier part.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, then too, you're talking about running 2 lanes going up. The thing that's really annoying last year was there were 2 lanes going up until it hit Mount Shasta at peak.
Right.
And it cut down to 1 lane, and all the trucks had to stop
Sure.
to go into 1 lane, and it stopped everything.
Yeah,
And we don't have to do that.
We recognized that there was an issue there last year, and it really was the 3 lanes. When we had 3 lanes going northbound. I came from Reading, and you know, every time we go from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, you have a bottleneck. People don't want to merge. Everybody's trying to sneak up and get one more car up ahead.
Yeah.
And essentially, I think I sat at the first one for 15 minutes, and then I got past it. Well, then the next one I sat for 12 minutes, and then it was actually 5 minutes to get through the job. You know, so it's those bottlenecks. So we took away the 3rd lane. We just said, hey, we're never going to give them. You know, they come out all the way up the canyon, 2 lanes. Why do we need 3 here? We took that lane away. We dropped, an immense amount of time off of people's delays. So this year, what we'll be looking at is we'll run 2 lanes the entire time northbound, and there'll be a single lane coming southbound.
And if I may, because Nicole is a resident engineer, and she has really important information in terms of actual ramp closures and delays. Unless your question is
Well, no,
unrelated.
my question is, could somebody go through the sequence of how
Sure,
this is going
you
to
betcha.
Perfect, there you go, you got it.
So my name's Nikki Mallory. I'm basically in charge of the day-to-day operations for Caltrans on this job. And this next season will be very similar to last season in terms of we'll be crossing traffic over from the southbound lanes into the northbound lanes and then back over. And we'll be working from the scales down to the Sacramento River Bridge here. So for the majority of the season, we'll have traffic crossover 1 lane southbound, and there will be 2 lanes northbound. And then we'll have some long-term ramp closures. So we'll have Mott Road southbound on and off ramp closed, and the north Dunsmuir, the Siskiyou Dunsmuir exit, the southbound off and on ramp closed as well. And those will be for the majority of the summer. We'll be keeping the central Dunsmuir ramps open, other than some very minor short-term closures, a couple days here or there. And we plan to start work sometime in April, depending on the weather, and it'll extend through the end of the season, hoping to finish the project by the end of the year. So that's it.
I see some of you taking notes furiously, which is fine, but understand that we have some handouts on the tables over here, and these, maybe you want to take a picture of the posters, because it's kind of laid out in an organized way. If that helps anybody, just want to point it out.
The one thing about any time that we close a ramp, you know, we always have a lot of signs out on our jobs, and not everyone reads all of those signs, but we always post them 10 days before we close them. If we're gonna close a ramp, there will be notification out there 10 days before we do it. So that's your, if you're driving a route or something like that, and you should know before we close it that it's gonna be closed. So we just don't arbitrarily close them.
So, because of the off-ramp closures, I live in North Dunsmuir. I use Siskiyou Avenue, Dunsmuir Avenue, on-ramp and off-ramp all the time. And Mott will be closed, and I had to take my son to Golden Eagle. Can I come the back way? Is that okay to come on Old Stage to do it that way? Because that's actually better for me.
Sure.
And that's not going to be a problem because people aren't going to be trying to avoid the freeway
Right.
going that way, right?
It's Old Stage is a touchy subject, but all I can tell you from my standpoint or from this Caltrans standpoint is we try to keep everybody on the freeway that is on the freeway. It's still, Old Stage is a public road, so unless the county does something, if they close Old Stage, that's the county's prerogative. It's not our road to tell you not to use it. So.
Well, I just figure it's not going to be like everybody trying to get off there
Sure.
to avoid the traffic jams, right?
Right.
Because it's,
And as far as going to, like if you're going to Golden Eagle, you're not impeded getting on northbound. So you'll be able to go on
I
any
can
of those.
go up, but I can't come back.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you're saying we could go up to up Mott Road and cut over and then get onto the northbound there?
Yeah, any of them, you can do
Well, that'll be all.
any of the closed ramps, the northbound will remain open.
Okay.
On and offs are open on the northbound direction.
So in other words, there'll be a detour basically for anyone wanting to get to, say, the airport at Mott Road there. There'll be a detour that'll take it down to the central exit and then they would cut across and...
If they're going southbound, yeah, there will be a detour. It does not take them to Central because the trucks wouldn't be able to turn around because of how you have to get back on the freeway there. So the official detour actually takes them down to, I think it's where Railroad Park is.
Yeah, Freddy's.
And that's to accommodate trucks. That doesn't,
Yep.
nothing's going to impede you and your car from taking the central bit.
When you live here, you're not going to drive past a perfectly good exit just to follow the sign, right?
Yeah, we can't detour trucks into an area that's not suitable for trucks.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, Lupita, do you have any?
I do. So my name is Lupita Franco, and I do public information for Caltrans. And I think our commitment, and I can speak for all of us, to you is, and to the community that you are part of, is that we will keep you informed. And so what I would love for you to understand, or to, not to understand, to kind of be aware of this, every project has more or less, it happens like this. The first 2 weeks, everybody goes, I don't know what's going to be. It's going to be like this for 8 months. That's it. I don't know about, so it's our job to manage that. And the way we would like you, 2 things that we ask, that we avoid rumor, because in other communities we've gone, it's like, so no, they say they will close it for you. And so I think the best way, send them to us. We're used to manage and inform and work with people, whether they are happy or unhappy. And so we'll take care of that. The second, as everybody was saying, I think if you were to take one of these and share them, we also have them electronically, and it will be great if you put them in, for those of you who have a business, if you put them visible. We sent a letter to all of the 91 businesses here, and we have a plan to communicate not just with businesses, but with the residents. We're going to do some advertising pieces, and we're going to come here to some of the key events. So you're going to see us here. And so usually all of you or the elected officials, you can call Sean and you can call John or Nikki. And if nobody is answering you, I'm your person. And I'll make sure that but everybody's so good that I can just go home and have coffee. And my card is there. If you need any information, you can always call us. We have, just so that you know, we have a plan for outreach with everything well thought. Second, we have a phone number that people can call during business hours. We have a hotline if there's a big issue. We do it to a website, Facebook, social media, Twitter. we will send letters to you and we will be here in the community. And so here's the thing, just the last thing. We're not afraid of conflict. If someone is not happy, if there's something, everyone here is an expert in their area, and then we have a really great contractor that we work really well with. And so we will address those issues. And sometimes people are not going to be happy with the solutions, but there will be a process to address those issues. And so I think you guys are going to be happy how this is going to go. And at the end, we can all have a big party and a big celebration. And a ribbon cutting, that's what they
Do it
want.
every 50 years. Well, I'll just say thank you again to those of you who've been here, and I hope we can help spread sound information in the community and everybody kind of get on the same page and know what to expect. And my contact information, I've got my card there on the table, and Lupita as well. Hey, Richard.
Sean, we're going to have another meeting, is that correct, with the regular community, so we can get that notice out also?
So part of what I'm doing today is trying to get a feel for what level of question there was, to see if it's necessary to have an entire community meeting. And it appears maybe that's the case, so we're talking about making that happen before construction starts as well. And so,
Sean, may I add to that process? And I think it's a really good way to talk to people, right? In other projects, recent projects, by sending a letter, just conveying what we told to you, the nature of the project, the traffic impacts, contact information, and a map, basically what we did here, it's costly for us, but it also proves very, very effective, because we reach out to seniors who can actually not come in, to people that might be sick, to people that have other things to do. So it's something that Sean and the whole team will decide. But I think the meeting is not over, so everybody's here available for more questions, one-on-one, and to address specific issues.
Well, actually, a question and comment. I like your idea about a celebration instead.
Yeah! Yeah!
And maybe do an official celebration. And I don't know, name that section of highway. I don't think it's named.
what's your name?
David Clark.
Write that down.
Yes, yeah. And then the other is, I know that November is kind of the outside if everything goes, there's no shortage of rebar or whatever. But what's the shortest time it could happen for the impact of the lanes? I know part of that, they were still working for probably 3 weeks, but the traffic was flowing back on the right side of the road.
He's Mr. Optimist here, he'll tell you.
I'm thinking that will be done before Labor Day. Not done, but have the roads pretty well back where they are. We'll still be doing signs and, lane closures with cones, but no, I think we can easily do it if Mother Nature lets us start early enough that we can get going.
So he's saying Labor Day.
But I would like to say that by the end of September, we're totally gone out of your guys' hair.
Well, we're gonna start planning the party though. We're gonna start thinking, hey, I'm all with you, okay? I think celebrations and ribbon cuttings are beautiful, okay?
David Clarnell Highway.
I had a concern, and maybe you could answer this, is now, I mean, the new road's great, except like when it was raining or whatever, I couldn't see the white.
Yeah, the stripe,
Yeah, because it's so light.
I was explaining it earlier, what's out there right now is temporary stripe. What we like to do is if we put the permanent stripe in, right now, it's gonna be a recessed stripe, so we grind it in and we inlay basically the stripe. So if we are crossing traffic back and forth across that, we kind of scar up everything. So what's out there is temporary right now, and it needs to be, we just don't have the weather to replace it.
Good to know, because I thought maybe.
Yeah, no, it's not you.
I've been concerned about that.
No, we need to brighten it up. There's no doubt about it.
There's a contrast on the permanent where there's painting the white on top of a black.
Yeah,
There's a shadow right next to it.
yeah, and it'll be a wider stripe. This is temporary, it's 4-inch, permanent is 6-inch.
It seems like the main difference between the last year's project and this year's project, there's going to be 2 lanes going north at all times.
That's a big
Last
difference.
year.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I
that's a huge
think
difference.
whatever you guys communicate, I would stress that, because that's what caused the backup and et cetera.
We struggled a little bit, once we got, we took away the number 3 lane, The northbound was in pretty good shape. You know, we'd have occasional backups, but nothing extreme. We struggled in the southbound direction. We tried to do the same thing. There's 3 lanes up near Black Butte. We tried to take that 3rd lane away, but it's just, you know, it's hard to herd so many people.
Yeah.
A lane can handle about 1,250 cars an hour. And we're right at that, at peak. We're right at that 1,250. And so that's where you start getting your issues. So,
And one person makes a mistake when it's
Yep.
that bad in it, or blows a tire, pulls off slow, it just backs up and there's nothing we can do about it to make it clear out.
yeah, somebody makes a mistake and they can back up traffic for hours over a simple, you know, stalled in the lane, you know, and it just stacks them up. So.
Can you keep the trucks in the single lane legally?
What we did, are you talking in the northbound direction?
Right, in the northbound.
So what we did last year is we signed it that said trucks right lane only, and then we asked CHP to enforce it. So that was what, because what will happen is you get 2 trucks going up the hill and then they pull the hill. Then it messes everything up.
Has that ever happened?
Yeah. So we sign it with an enforceable sign so that the CHP can start writing tickets if people are trying to pass. The other thing that we did that really can mess us up is if we get oversized loads that come through and they can't pull the hill at a reasonable rate. So we restricted our permits to nighttime only for those loads. So that was another thing that we did to try to help. So we try, you know, it's just.
You're doing great, so far. I think it's been going well.
All right, well, with that, we'll continue to be available if people have more questions or available for conversation. And make sure that you take with you a copy of some of the materials we provided so you can jog your memory later on.
Let people know that this will be up online, and the Siskiyou Media Council is reporting it, so that you can let folks know that they can see this presentation shortly.
And also, please join our Facebook page. It's Caltrans District 2. We do respond to the messages and we follow up on the comments. And that's a really good way to know what's going on.
What is the Facebook page?
It's called Caltrans District 2.
Caltrans District 2.
Yeah.
And we have in that page over there shown your contact information, Nicole's and John's and mine if you want to take with you.
Yeah, we're all available.
One more question?
Just one more question. Is there a way that Caltrans may be able to use digital signs to tell people what's ahead so they don't get all, once they hit the traffic, they know it's an accident or they know it's...
Yeah, a lot of times, like if there's an incident, we have our overhead signs like we have at Walters up in Wairika, or we have Pollard Flats down here. Is that the one? So we'll talk to our dispatch, they fire those signs up and then they alert people. So that does happen, yes.
Thank you very much.